Welcome back to The Best You. This is Scott Rank, and in this third session we're going to be talking about look better than you feel. We're talking about the outer layer in the circle, and we'll show you the diagram again to refresh your memory. We're looking at this outside circle I'm calling the social layer or the public image. Come along with me and we're going to learn a little bit more, teaching us how we can live our best life together. All right, welcome back, and here we go. Let's do a quick refresher. If you haven't seen the previous videos, you might want to go back and take a look, especially at session 2. But in session 3, we're going to focus on the outside layer. So let's take a look at the diagram. I prettied it up for you a little bit so you could read it better. But the 4 inner circles represent our insides, our interior motivations. The things that fuel our lives that nobody else can see. The outer 2 layers, the cause layer and the social layer or your public image, as I'm calling it in this video, those are things that the outside world sees. They're obvious to all people, but what they don't see is what's fueling it down underneath. For the purpose of this video, let's assume that none of us are operating from that healthy core. And that is the area where you are living your life as you were created to be. You're motivated by love. You're filled with joy and peace. You're pure as the driven snow. So let's just check that one off for the purpose of this video and realize now that that outer layer is what we want other people to think about us. So it's a public image. Oftentimes down deep, I don't feel like I'm good enough. I don't feel adequate. I'm not sure I fit in. I don't know if these people are going to accept me. So what I want to do with that outer layer is present to them somebody that's better than I feel I am. That's why the title of this video is Look Better Than You Feel. The problem is when we do that, and everybody does it. Every human being on the planet has done that at one time or another. But when we are presenting other people with a public image and we haven't really journeyed to the core ourselves to know what's fueling us, it's like we have these sumo wrestler costumes on. Have you ever seen those where you get in this big balloon costume and go out and wrestle with somebody and all you're doing is bumping into each other's balloon? Well, when we live from a social layer that's fabricated, it's not the real us. All we are doing with other people is bumping images. And so oftentimes when we live our lives that way, inside we're insecure, outside we give this polished image of ourselves, we find ourselves very lonely. Even in a crowd, even if you're married, even in a family. If you go to a social event, you may be in a large crowd of people, but you feel very alone. And it's because you can't connect with an image. This is a huge problem in religious organizations, churches. We all go into those places thinking that there's, all these rules and all these things that other people are expecting of us. Maybe you think everybody there is a Bible scholar but you're thinking if they really knew who I was, the roof would fall in, nobody would want anything to do with me. So we present this public image of somebody that's better than we are. And so we're lonely even at church. We just bump into each other's images. And you can't connect that way. Have you ever met anybody that you felt like within a very short time you really knew them? There was almost an instant connection with them. And I'm not talking about in any physical way. I'm talking about in an emotional way. You just felt like they were genuine. That person, their core and their exterior layer were the same. And that's what we mean by the word integrity. Integrity is when the inside and the outside are the same thing. You don't have to play any games. You don't have to hide behind a public image. And that's the goal of this video series, is to help us to understand all these different layers of motivation, how we live our lives, so that we can get down to that core layer. So in the end, what we could say is, what you see is what I am. I'm the same here, same at work, same at home, same wherever I go, and what you see is what you get. So my public image is not fabricated, it's genuinely who I am. So as we end this video, I want you to think about some times maybe that you've developed that public image that made it look like you were better than what you were. And I'm going to tell you a quick one on me. When we left Virginia, after being removed from my senior leadership role because I had committed adultery, when I found myself in a whole new state with a whole new start, the story I told people was, hey, I turned 50. My wife and I decided we were going to move to Florida. We were really tired of what we were doing, and it was time for a fresh start. Now that gave a public image that was way better than the reality of the situation. So what I want you to do is ponder some times, maybe in new settings or maybe in your current setting, where your public image and what your inner self is are two different things. And ponder that, because you've got to figure that out if you're ever going to be able to live your best life. So come back next time. We're going to go one layer deeper and look at the cause layer. If you haven't subscribed yet, click this button right over here. It's my logo, and you'll be able to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Share it from the YouTube channel. Share it on your social media. Invite your friends to come along for the journey. We'll see you next time.